Is it you who steps into an art store to buy oil paint and realize you have no idea where to start?
Why is that one so cheap? Why is that one so expensive?
Well, oil paint prices mainly depend on the quality of the pigment, the manufacturing process, and the brand's overall reputation.
Stop. But why is there an artist grade and a normal? What's that?
Well, an artist-grade oil paint contains greater concentration of pure durable pigment, and they're often sourced from rare or expensive materials. This makes the results richer, more saturated in color, cover better, and last longer. But that's not what we're here to talk about, so let's just... Anyways, today I will be comparing two brands of oil paint, Mary's and Winsor Newton. From the graph, you can see that Mary's paint is much cheaper than Winsor Newton, with the largest tube size of Mary's being nearly half price of the Winsor Newton's largest tube size. It makes you wonder just how much of a difference that extra $20 makes. After watching paint dry for a whole 2 weeks, we finally got some data. But before that, drying speed is important because it gives the artist a clear idea of the average wait time when using the paint. Different colors also dry at different times. This is because the different color pigments react with the oil binder differently. After some thorough research, I found out that the average dry time for Mary's is around 3 to 7 days, whilst the Winsor Newton is around 4 to 12. Comparing the research with our results, we can see that the Winsor Newton oil paint does tend to dry slower. But the official Winsor Newton website did suggest the use of a drying agent to speed things up. Mary's, on the other hand, didn't really give any information on reducing their paint drying time, which actually makes sense considering the fact that it does dry pretty fast just by itself. Now we're going to look at the color quality of a few most often used colors when painting. Color accuracy is important in painting because, in simple terms, you grab bright red, you want it to be bright red. I will be looking at ivory black, titanium white, cadmium yellow, and burnt sienna. Colors feel different to everyone, so I sent out a form to all students in my school to ask for their opinions. With a whopping 193 replies, here are the results. Looking at it overall, Winsor Newton wins this one 3-1 with well over 50% of people agreeing. But to all those who don't, I've invited a special guest to tell us about his opinions as a professional.
Good evening, I am Monsieur Francois. According to my extensive knowledge on paints and pigments, it is much richer in color. Notice how it is much more black than this. As for the whites, notice how it perfectly blends in with the canvas. Is that cadmium yellow?
Yeah.
I mean, I knew that. The first one is way more muddy. The second one is what a yellow should properly look like. As for the burnt sienna, contrary to popular belief, I don't know what kind of people you're consulting, I believe the second one is the better burnt sienna. How is the first one burnt? It is just orange. The second one contains a richness, a depth,
So, to make sure that the results of the texture is a very important factor in oil paintings. This is because oil paint keeps its shape after it dries. Because of this feature, many artists use it to add depth into their paintings. I will be comparing the quality control and the general feel of the paint when scraped onto a canvas with a palette knife thickly. Looking at my past recordings, you'll realize that there really isn't much of a difference between the Winsor Newton and Mary's. A little detail that I found out about the Winsor Newton oil paint was that it was much thicker, giving your hand more control and stability. Mary's, on the other hand, had much thinner paint, and it took a lot more control to create the same exponential curve that the Winsor Newton one could have easily created. Here I present to you a time-lapse of me using both brands together to paint a painting. It was, as I proudly showed you, o'clock, so I would not consider this my bestest of work, but it did bring me to a proper conclusion. After a long journey of cramping all my filming into 4 a.m. nights, I have thoroughly explored into the different properties of the two brands of paint. To answer my original question, I believe that for a beginner, the better oil paint would still be Mary's. Although it's thinner, hard to control, and have less accurate colors, when you're trying to purchase 20 tubes of paint, saving that $20 per tube can save you a total of $400. That's more money for paint tubes! But if you're indecisive and want to try both brands, that's completely okay too. I am living proof of this indecisiveness, and look where it brought me. So maybe the moral of this whole story was just to give it a try and have some fun. Bye bye!